Hello, you are watching PSI. Now, every now and again, we get a request to do a debunk or look at a piece of equipment or even a phone app to give our feedback on it and to let you guys know what we think. This video is about the Deadbell. Some of you may already have seen it being used on YouTube videos or on TV. With a little help from Appydroid development, we're going to take a look and review the Deadbell. Check it out. So here we have a video of Appydroid Development's YouTube channel.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, the setting is going off the whole time, and I did figure out why it's doing that.
So I've stopped it there. It's electromagnetic actuator. So that is going to come out like that and hit the bell. I'm presuming it's connected to a circuit inside, but this thing will give off kind of its own EM field, which will probably trigger it. I need to see inside of this. I believe it's going to give a lot of false positives. Maybe that's what the problem is here. It's one of the issues going with a dead bell.
The little pin goes inwards, and obviously when it detects a disturbance, this little pin's going to go and hit the bell. So yeah, that's on the top side. Let's take a little dive in from the bottom.
Wow. Just paused it there to have a look. First thing I notice, it's all unshielded. It's how many circuits are there? There looks like 1, 2, 3. Is that 4 circuits? I can't quite see. And a massive battery. Yeah, I mean, it's in principle, I think it's a good idea, but it needs work on this. There's so many things wrong with it. If you just look where the cursor is, there's a small circuit there. I can't tell what that is yet. Looking at this blue little circuit, that is possibly an Arduino circuit, which is what they use in like a lot of coding and things. There's a little circuit on the pot there, which is obviously the power and normally the volume with something with sound. And I don't know what that is. I didn't build it, but that is a massive battery. I'm presuming this battery is rechargeable. Looking at that, is it? Or is that meant to last a lifetime? I don't like that. Doesn't look like there's any kind of access to that battery unless you take the bottom off, which is being glued in. It's covered in... How's it being stuck in? Hot glue. Right, it's been glued in. Looking at all these bits all over the place, it looks like hot glue. For me, this is an issue. I'm presuming the Arduino is telling the little actuator to ring. And something, I don't know what the other circuits do. I don't know. I didn't build it. But I'm presuming it's like kind of built like some sort of REM pod. If something comes close to it, it's going to activate the REM part, which then in turn activates the actuator, which rings the bell. But that in itself is going to interfere with this circuitry, what detects EM fields. It hasn't been that well thought about. I mean, in theory it's a good thing, but it needs a lot of work looking at all this. I don't like the idea of that battery. I would want, if it was a big battery like that, I'd want it to be a rechargeable one where you could just plug a charger in and charge it so you don't have to take the bottom off. But that doesn't look like a rechargeable battery. It's quite a big battery, that. Quite a lot of power for such a small circuit. I mean, it's working, but how do you charge it and how do you change the battery?
A very simple circuit, there's not much to elaborate on here. We do have a very large battery here. This is a little bit overkill for the project, if you ask me. An 1860
I agree.
would be much more suited to this charge controller.
That was another
Another problem
circuit.
with these charge controllers is they do have terrible parasitic drain, so that battery is going to go fairly flat fairly quickly.
Right.
After about 6 months in hibernation, if you put this away, that battery is going to be flat again.
Wow, so already there's a big issue with the battery. This is what Appydroid development is saying. There's going to be a big drain if you leave it standing, or even if you're using it. Because of this circuit here, it's going to drain your battery, basically.
The reason I know this is because it's the exact same charge controllers we use on the Paratex, and to get rid
Right.
of that problem we actually had to physically add a secondary voltage regulator which shuts off the circuit and
Right.
detects this battery is low. So yeah,
I love the way Appydroid development tells you. He's a really good developer. I will put his link in the video down below in the description, so you can go check out his channel. But you know, he knows his stuff.
I will be adding one of those to the circuit. Everything else, we have a transistor here which controls the actuator.
Right.
Digital pin 3 here is connected to the gate, which then when positive voltage is applied will then turn on the gate, and the actuator will pull inwards. Got a little diode here to stop backfeeding, all fairly standard stuff. We have a little Arduino Nano which it does the mathematical calculations of the magnetometer. So this is basically an XYZ magnet detector. As you expect, anything electromagnetic or magnetic is going to interfere with this.
So that's a magnetic detector, and like he said, anything with like a magnet in it or any kind of EM field, in theory, should interfere with that and make the bell ring. I did get a few notes back from Appydroid, which I'll discuss at the end. I'll keep playing.
Sensor, so if you do put a magnet here there, if this device was working properly, if you put a magnet here there, this would obviously activate.
You could fake paranormal activity basically just by putting some sort of magnet near it, what you couldn't see. You could trick people into believing that a ghost was ringing this bell.
Are they good for paranormal use? Yeah, it depends on the implementation.
Are they good for paranormal use, like Appydroid just said? I think the idea is good, but like I said, all this has issues. There's this has been sent to Appydroid to try and fix the problem. He doesn't make these. It's all unshielded. It's not protected, which means a lot of things could interfere with it, and it's getting a lot of false positives off its own circuit. It's setting itself off. It's triggering itself. So I wouldn't use it unless these issues were fixed, which I think Appydroid development is doing there.
But yeah, this and that is essentially causing the whole problem. So
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
actually happening is when you turn this device on, that's getting pulled inwards. This in effect creates its own magnetic field because it's an electromagnetic actuator.
Yeah.
So this will pull enough electromagnetic energy that you could detect it with a K2 meter, for example.
So as just said, it's triggering itself. It is setting itself off because of what that is. That actuator is, it's creating its own magnetic field, which is interfering with the circuitry, which is triggering itself to ring itself. And I believe this is why this is being sent into Appydroid development to try and, because they thought it had an issue. Well, all he's done is taken the bottom off and had a look at the circuitry, and straight away he's realised that it's getting false positives because it's triggering itself to go off.
And then the sensor is picking up that field, thinking there's a disturbance, and is then activating the actuator. When this voltage supply is reset, the same again is occurring. So it doesn't matter where you're putting the sensitivity, it's going to continuously feed itself. electromagnetic energy. So really bad design. It's not so
I
much
agree.
bad design as bad programming. As you notice, when you turn that on, that is activating. Now, the way to get round this, the way to fix it, would be to, instead of pulling that positive, just leave it off. Just leave it off. There's no real reason why that can't stay where it is, and then when it detects a field, it could then jiggle the bar a few times, and then we can continue reading again. There's no real reason why it can't be done that way. That way, when this is off, it's not generating its own magnetic field. This is not picking up that magnetic field, and it's not going to false trigger itself.
So what Appydroid is really saying is, if they go back into the coding and change all the coding, then the bell will not be ringing as much. But I think you're still going to have those issues. When the electromagnetic actuator is activated, it's still going to create that EM field, which in turn will be picked up by its own circuitry, causing it to ring again. You're still going to get that circle of EM false readings. Other than the coding, is there any other way around stopping the false readings? Unless you're going to shield that actuator, and I don't know how you would do that. I don't see how. Is there anything else that could be used instead of the electromagnetic actuator? I think it has potential, but I think it needs developing more. Anyway, I would like to thank Appydroid Development. His link is below in the description of this video. And I'd like to thank you guys for watching. For now, take care. Subscribe to the channel, and if you want to see bonus videos, please join the channel as a member.